Oh, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the last week of NGS Season 5 regular season. And actually, joining me to do all the heavy lifting, because I have a little bit of a sore throat, I'm only here for my good looks today. Famous, how's it going?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Glad to be here. Glad to lift the stream up. Do my
So,
best.
I waited until the very last minute to shark our two games tonight because I wanted to pick the games that had something on the line. And these two teams, as I go to the standings on the stream, the Found Vikings and Mistakes Were Made, are number 6 and 7 in the standings, famous. And as we know, what happens if you get into 6th place as opposed to 7th place?
Yeah, you're locked in for that playoff spot. Don't have to play through the wild card weekend, so pretty important.
That is correct, sir. And I have done the math. The standings that you're seeing, guys, not quite up to date because Mistakes Were Made has already played once today and they drew against the team in 8th place. So they had a huge doubleheader tonight, playing the team immediately ahead of them and the team immediately behind them. So the math works out to this, famous. If Mistakes Were Made takes the 2-0 domination against the Found Vikings, they will take
Okay.
over the 6th place and make it to the playoffs. If they lose or draw, the Found Vikings will dodge wild card weekend.
Very nice. Gonna be a spicy round then.
I hope so. Should be a good one. Teams close in record, playing for something, should be motivated. And we have both teams in lobby with 5 players. And let's see if they're ready to go. So you've got the best statistical program available to us up. Anything jump out at you from Falendrith's excellent stats of the storm?
Um, Nothing too crazy. Pretty standard bands and picks around the board. You got Rainer, Asmodee, Stukov, and high band. So Stukov high band priority. Um, I'm not sure how to get a good grasp on how to look at both of the teams, but I'm figuring it out as we go.
Don't tell me we've got standard, famous. This is Div D. We don't do standard here.
I see a butcher.
There
Well,
we
that's
go. Now we're talking, my man.
at 0%. Never mind.
So
I
game
have my stats backwards.
game number 1 will be Battlefield of Eternity. This is the choice of Mistakes Were Made. Game 2, which will hopefully have huge implications, will be on Infernal Shrines, choice of the Found Vikings. I guarantee you I'm going to call them the Lost Vikings.
Yeah, TLV just feels right. The found one. I don't know which one do you think was the found Viking? Would it be Eric, Baloff? Which one? Which one? Who figured it out?
I don't know. What's the fat one? He seems like he would be the easiest one to find.
I think that's Olaf, I believe. That does make sense that he would be the fat. All right, Stukov. Uh, that's a pretty high support ban, actually. And then Alarak in return. Interesting. Alarak very strong on Battlefield of Eternity simply because of the immortal stuns, and you can pull targets into your silence combo for pretty much an instant kill.
Yeah, that Stukov has, despite the nerfs where he was at the top of the support meta for a pretty long while, still in a good spot, and a well-timed lurking arm can be absolutely backbreaking engagement. So not wanting to deal with that, mistakes were made. It just takes it off the board. And then we have an Alarak first ban. Don't do much of that. Followed by a Hanzo on Battlefield of Eternity. Makes perfect sense. And a Diablo who arguably the top tank available right now. But we get that creepy Asmodan first pick. What do you think of Asmo on BOE in particular?
Um, it's kind of an interesting map for Asmodan. He gets a lot of split pushing value during the objective phase. He can kind of dunk the lanes and get experience if it kind of turns into that 5v5 stalemate in the middle of the map, kind of posturing both sides, trying to get poking at the immortal kind of thing. Also has pretty good burn on the Immortal with his laser, but yeah, I don't know. He'll struggle to stack his Qs for sure.
Now, on the flip side of that, we have Artanis Vala, and if that's not tipping your hand, I don't know what is. They will win the race. Mistakes were made. Has the race. Vala and Artanis on board.
Yeah, we do have a response with the Lili Arthas, so going to be some auto attack slows coming out from that Arthas to control both the Artanis and the Vala, and then some blinds as well. So pretty good responsive picks coming out on the side of the Found Vikings. I believe was on the left.
The Found Vikings is the blue team on the left. Mistakes were
Yeah.
made. Red team on the right. Cassia ban from the aforementioned mistakes were made. I expect to see some kind of a support pan coming out here.
Yeah, Tyrande, in my mind, is kind of the top tier of supports.
Well, especially on Battlefield, too.
Yeah, just the extra burn on the Immortal with her Hunter's Mark, and then stun follow-up on, again, the Immortal stun circles. White main's also very strong. Deckard still sticks around.
And the chat is telling us that Alarak is a targeted band against Contender on the Found Vikings. Scouting report coming in.
Nice.
From the Twitch chat.
If I get a handle on the stats of the storm, I could have probably made that prediction, but I'm still struggling with the program. So we got a Muradin coming out, a very strong tank for the front line. We got a white main, tons of healing from her. What do you like to see in response here?
Well, I wonder if they're going to try to kind of... Arthas is one of those warriors that can kind of fake it as a main tank and fake it as a bruiser and isn't really 100% one or the other. So I'm curious what role they're going to try to slot that Arthas in. And I have seen teams kind of run an Arthas Howling Blast into a Tyrande Lunar Flare Hunter's Mark blow-up type thing. So, no, they're going to instead go with Greymane and ETC, seeing a little bit of a resurgence famous since that little health buff. Fellow tank player, did you notice a difference with that health buff? Because I did, and I didn't think I would.
Yeah, it's just a little bit more, right? He does have like a higher effective HP on top of the fact that his armor, it always kind of multiplies any HP boost he gets because he does get that armor on top of all of his abilities. Out comes Li Ming, very strong in the Immortal race as well as the poke, and some pretty good follow-up for the Muradin stuns. So pretty well-rounded drafts from both sides, I would say.
And of course, anytime you have a Li Ming in the composition, so much of that composition relies. If she gets resets, she's really valuable. And she doesn't have a whole lot of value. But Li Ming on Battlefield of Eternity, probably the safest hero for putting damage on the Immortal from a safe distance without really being able to expose herself to danger. And that's really handy when those Immortals are in the offensive positions where you'd have to invade your opponent's side to put damage on her. She gets really effective at like poking and poking and poking out the Immortal.
Absolutely. There's a little circle with the 4 rocks around it, what I call the pocket on Battlefield of Eternity. Li Ming and Hanzo in particular get a lot of value from just occupying that space, throwing their spells out at the Immortal from a safe range. They're the kind of the 2 ideal pokers in that regard.
Yeah, you really force the opponent to make a decision. Either you send somebody to eat that damage, which is not good, or you let the Immortal eat the damage. So, the red team will do it backwards today. Mistakes were made. Runtime logic on Vala. Kyle 566 on White Mane. The new hotness White Mane skin. I love that broom mount. Spork on Muradin. Noldat on Li Ming. And Rice on Artanis.
Awesome. And then the blue side, we have the Found Vikings with the Dicky playing that Arthas. We got Contender on the Greymane. We got, wow, PJ Tim on ETC and Cyan on Asmo and Sailor Sky on Lili.
I like PJ Tim, that's what I'm going to go.
Yeah, PJ Tim.
And I will say that Arthas is a pretty nice response to the Artanis, because Artanis is going to have a really hard time in that frost area of effect attack speed skill that Arthas has. But the name I'm completely forgetting right now. Is E.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it too. It's frost something maybe?
No, numbing? No, that's a talent. You know what we mean.
Yeah, the circle that slows you and slows your attack speed.
That's right.
I've been actually playing a whole bunch of Arthas right now. I find him pretty strong in that main tank role, particularly with an Abathur.
I mean, an ETC Arthas frontline is ETC does power slide onto the white main, Globe and gray main not quite able to finish it off, but that is a lot of control out of an ETC Arthas frontline. And of course with an Artanis, the longer the game scales, the more those globes are going to start doing some work.
I'd like to point out we got amateur opponent from Artanis, so we're going to have a little bit more immortal races as well. And then Perfect Storm coming out from Murd, and so he's going to be getting stronger and stronger as the game goes out as well. With those Qs doing a little bit more damage.
And no surprise on the amateur opponent, I think that's kind of the pick du jour for Artanis on Battlefield of Eternity. So I'd like to go hop into our solo laners, because those poor guys never get any love, but this bottom lane is just a constant brawl. Okay, let's go check in on those top lanes. Boy, Mongoose does not know what he is talking about, because Artanis has been giving poor Dicky on Arthas a rough day. Dicky now kind of safely hovering in his own lane and soaking from a distance. Artanis looks like he just had a little nap and he's refreshed and ready to go.
Our Greymane's actually moved off to the Shaman camp, and as early cap to that. I'd like to see them hold off a little bit longer on that cap, because it's not actually going to push during the Immortal. As well as the red side has picked up their own camp. All mistakes were made. It's a little bit early, but we'll see if it pays off for them.
Yeah, typically you want to hold those till right about the same time as the Immortals are spawning, right in that neighborhood. Because you can see the lanes right now, both teams will have the opportunity to clear out these camps long before the objective pops. They basically got zero value in free cleared.
Once we're going to have a little contention over the top mercenary camp here.
Yeah, Artanis being a little confident, considering Greymane's right in the same neighborhood now. Well, the Found Vikings will now get push in the top lane with the top merc camp that they picked up. In the meantime, mistakes were made trying to get a little bit of a head start on the Immortal, knowing two in the top lane. Artanis does dash in, doesn't get the swap. Power slide into the Immortal stun on Artanis, really getting chunked out, as is ETC. Both warriors step away. Muradin steps in with low health. He's in trouble. Dwarf tosses to safety. Mistakes were made, retreating for the time being, getting a little reset as a globe comes down on Vala and Whitemane.
Should be noted that Greymane's been on that Immortal the entire fight, so he's getting some good damage on that. ETC getting very low, kind of far out. He's going down.
Yeah, he actually reset. He got swapped into tower range and just chunked down hard.
Asmodan should be. So that's going to be a triple kill, all said and done.
So mistakes were made with the early 3-0 team fight. Zrice on Artanis, getting the huge swap to start that. Set up the kill on the ETC. The resets on the Li Ming, able to finish off Arthas as well, and then they caught the Asmodan in the retreat. That will give them about a half-level lead, and the first Immortal, about 50% health, going over to the side of Mistakes Were Made.
Yeah, looks like Found Vikings actually, I was going to say the Lost Vikings, rotated to bottom, thinking it was going to be the Immortal was going to spawn on bottom, but actually that bottom topmost tower took a little bit of damage, so it's going to go up top. Artanis and Arthas will rotate to the solo lanes, and everyone else will just try and take out this wall. Typically you don't get too much more than that on the first Immortal, because it is so weak.
Yeah, typically you're targeting wall and a little bit of map control off that first Immortal. The only time you really ever get much more is if there's a random Sylve or the ETC gets caught out and killed. That might do it.
Or Tim.
Yep. EJ Tim. Stepping a little bit too far forward. Even with that health buff, ETC
yeah.
is on the squishier side as main tanks go.
Absolutely. You kind of have to play on that knife's edge with ETC as Spork actually dives onto Asmodan here, and he's going to go down with that orb. Very nice setup from Spork.
So 5 unanswered kills, 5 mistakes were made. Famous, I'm going to say they are playing like a team that knows they need a 2-0 to get a playoff spot.
It would seem that way for sure. PJ Tim is back from spawn, so they have a front line this time, so that'll be nice. Ah, looks like Dickie's actually starting to get the better of Zeiss on bottom now.
Yeah, I think the Frozen Waste, that talent adds the damage on the... Now we can look at the talent name. Frozen Tempest, there we go.
There we go, yeah.
The extra damage on that, I'm sure, will definitely make an Artanis regret some life decisions by hanging out in that thing.
Yeah, interestingly enough, last Immortal we had both teams capped the Shaman camps a little bit too early. Oh, as Cyan's going to go down once again, dove by that Muradin. Vala follow-up damage. They should be able to... Oh, let's see. Spork is going to get the last
he
auto.
does get him. Now does he have Dwarf Toss? He did use it a few seconds ago. It should be almost off of cooldown, but a Contender on the backside going wild on Whitemane and Vala. But so far, no losses by mistakes were made. Spork and Kyle managed to limp away, battered but not broken, Famous.
Yeah, another kill picked up there. And Zrice actually getting that Shaman camp, which was what I was alluding to, so they will have that advantage during the push for the Immortal, and they're very close to that 10. So you'd like to see Found Vikings get as much damage as they possibly can on this Immortal in the meantime, and then back out once 10's been achieved.
Yeah, even though the kill actually didn't set them ahead on the objective, as Zrice on Artanis is in trouble. That swap is not going to get him very far. He does able to sidestep out of the body blocks, and then Kyle trying to come in for reinforcements, getting held down by that Arthas, but it's actually ETC who is forced to power slide defensively, and Heroics will come online any moment. 4 mistakes were made.
Contender managed to pop off the halftime show and get half the damage on the Immortal in the meantime, so pretty good all in all, actually.
So level 10s, Wave of Force, Avatar, Suppression Pulse, down goes ETC, Rain of Vengeance, and I don't know Whitemane's icons yet. Scarlet Aegis for Whitemane.
Yeah, the defensive ultimate there, gonna add 40 armor to everyone in her area and add a stack of Zeal. Good root coming up from Arthas. There's that Scarlet Aegis. Big stun coming out there. The Immortal's gonna land on the Artanis. Big dunk on the back line. Vala ends. Ooh, there goes Artanis' shield procs, and he's gonna stay alive for the moment. Arthas very low as well. Vala's HP pool. She cannot dive forward like that at that much HP. She's gonna get cleaned up. Stage dive comes out. A little bit off the mark. Li Ming and Kyle will walk away. Or limp away, I should say.
So the Found Vikings actually took a 9v10 fight and won, and the MVP of that fight was the Immortal, who got a triple stun onto mistakes were made, and then a solo stun shortly thereafter. You really got to dodge those, and hats off to Dickie for actually landing the triple root into the triple stun.
Slide. He's going to be out of position here. The swap doesn't land, so it looks like he's going to get out, but the Immortal stun! He's going to go down to the Li Ming combo. That's a reset. Look for Azmodan. No Dwarf Toss from Spork, so he'll get away.
These fights, Famous, are brawls, man. They are absolute brawls all over the place. But with Asmo going down, assuming no more triple stuns, mistakes.
He's gonna go down.
Yeah, mistakes were made. We'll pick up the Immortal and a kill on Arthas.
Wow. Just wow. Too much going on there. Greymane took a duel onto Vala, got chunked out as the supporting came online for Whitemane, didn't let him actually get that effective trade. And then Arthas just stepped a little bit too far out of position and went down as soon as the Immortal fell.
So second...
Close fights.
Yeah, and despite the early 5 unanswered kills, Found Vikings did find their footing there a little bit. But mistakes were made, actually secured their second consecutive Immortal.
Kitten's in some big trouble here once again, forcing the 1,000 cups. Contender, I'm not sure how he got there, but he will fall.
Anytime there is a Li Ming on the team, PJ Tim in trouble one more time in this fall, you really have to be extra careful about giving up kills. You have to be so aware of it. I mean, obviously you don't want to do it anyway, but Li Ming just takes a mistake and amplifies it if you're able to get that early kill in a team fight and that early reset.
Yeah, I mean, you have a good kill composition in between the Murd and the Li Ming, and then some good follow-up from Vala. She can get that Rain of Vengeance as an extra stun period on top of that, and you can potentially get a swap for an early gank as well. So a lot of snowball potential in the team fight because of that Li Ming pickup.
I love this call. The invade 13 to 12. 4 mistakes were made, taking away the Bruiser camp from the Vikings.
Absolutely, no reason not to. Artanis is top lane. If Arthas hadn't back there, they could have collapsed on this, perhaps. But they will just clean up the shaman camp.
I'd like to see them rotate top right now and take that top fort. It's already low. They know they're going to be bottom clearing. Be a free fort if they went up there as a team. But instead, they're going to go ahead and jump on the Bruiser camp. And Artanis on the top Bruiser as well. So maybe they could double push these in there. Or during the objective phase, if they hold it.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to have... Ooh.
They are going to hold it. Nice. Yeah. Or at least the one on the Bruisers. Arthas caught a little forward. Nice swap by Zrice, but both warriors.
Is all low.
Yeah, both warriors were up there. I don't think they had.
Stage dive.
They definitely did not have the kill pressure there to take advantage of that swap.
If the Found realized that their full team wasn't there, ETC could have stage dive and really caught them out there, but didn't pull the trigger.
Now, unfortunate RNG here for the Vikings, because this positioning is very much in favor of mistakes were made. They have halftime dunzos already.
Yeah, Asmodan hasn't even been able to clear that shaman camp yet.
I mean, with the amateur opponent and Vala, their burn, and Li Ming, their burn is so
Kim's in a bad spot
fast.
Once again. Forced to slide out. Here comes the swap. No swap. All right. Arthas with the big flank is going to catch out Sport. He's going to have to pop Avatar.
Stage dive onto the backside, catches 2 with the power slide, health bars melting all over the place, but no one falling yet. Retreat ping comes out by somebody. Looks like its mistakes were made, and it's Sindragosa comes down from Dicky, catching Muradin. However, he is still walking away. This fight all over the place, and now the Vikings are in trouble. Artanis and ETC go down simultaneously. It's a 1-4-1. Vala now in trouble. Excellent cleanse. Mistakes were made. Will be able to hit the reset button, but from downtown, Asmo Dunk rains down on Li Ming.
Oh, I love seeing that. It's a good dunk.
Was a good dunk.
Looking for a flank here. Asmodan has no mana.
And
gets caught in the tether.
Nice kill. 3 because one went back there. But Kael with the white main root into the Muradin Stormbolt, and Greymane went down.
How do you feel about that Sindragosa pickup? Oh, as the fight breaks out once again. ETC with the slide bump.
I mean,
Kyle's getting very low. Good body blocks coming up from Tim for the moment.
We'll talk about that in a match because we have another brawl breaking out. Somehow in the middle of all this, Vikings actually managed to catch up in level just a little bit somewhere on the battlefield here.
Yeah, ETC managed a little bit of split soaking, which helped a bit.
So this is where we mentioned it right at the end of the draft. The Li Ming is going to pay dividends. She can kind of hang out and poke from a distance, but forget poking. It is another huge fight. Arthas going down, ETC in retreat. Contender going Worgen on the backside, and now he has to back up as a blade dash from Artanis finishes him off. PJ Tim forced to power slide away again. Found Vikings has to retreat as they are in a world of trouble. Sport with the thunderclap and the body blocks. Li Ming not able to finish the job, and for the 3rd straight time, famous objective over to mistakes were made.
Yeah, early kill coming out provided that reset for our Li Ming player, putting a lot of damage onto that front line following that, and then we did see our contender Greymane dive the back line as soon as Scarlet Aegis popped out, so poor timing coming out from his offensive press, not able to actually trade out, fell pretty untimely.
Now we actually, because this game has been so all over the place, we never really talked about the heroics from the Found Vikings. Go for the throat, Tide of Sin, Stage Dive, Summon Sindragosa, and Cups. I don't think we're going to have time to talk about Sindragosa, so let's table that for between games. Uh-oh, Arthas in trouble.
I was gonna say, I bet you wish you had Army there, but that was in Cups, so come and save him.
Yeah, there's talent tier differential is definitely in favor of mistakes were made. This keep is in trouble. A nice double power slide face melt by ETC, saving contender for now, but now PJ Tim, man, he seems like he's been dancing on the razor's edge this whole game. Spork in trouble, taking a lot of damage. Dwarfs tosses to safety. First keep of the game.
They still have Syndra.
They do. First keep of the game.
I would have liked to see them ignore that Immortal with those health bars so low and so many resources spent on this side of mistakes were made, and pop that Syndragosa, chase him down with that stage dive, and try and turn this game around.
So, Syndragosa, I think we can talk about it.
Yeah. Usually I hate it.
I think it has a place. I don't think that place was this game. I think on BOE, if you're kind of up big after the first Immortal and you catch your 10th right after, you can use it as a snowball to take
Absolutely.
it. You know, that's the place for it. But because mistakes were made, has this blow-up comp, and the side
Big
of...
swap.
Big swap. Asmo going down. No,
side,
that
man.
almost went down.
White Maiden is... Oh, he just survived.
That is the power of White Mane, famous right there. That was White Mane. Mistakes were made wants to blow you up. That's how they win. And the Found Vikings with an Asmodam, they want these kind of poke battles. And that's what Army would kind of help. It would stunt that blow up. It would draw out these battles. So I really am not a fan of the Syndragosa. However, I will say Greymane took Executioner at 16, so a lot of synergy with Syndragosa there.
Yeah, I think Dicky already has a lot of slows with his what do we call it? Frozen Tempest, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm. Frozen Tempest and the Howling Blast, yeah.
And the Howling Blast, so he's already gonna have a lot of those slows already. I don't really see that as a necessary addition to the execution. However, I do think it does have some comeback potential, as I was alluding to when that first keep fell.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking about a little macro decision making there from the Found Vikings. They sent Arthas top when that skirmish broke out. ETC was actually with the 4-man. I would have liked to see ETC in the top lane with that stage dive and Arthas with the 4-man, so that Tim could have just joined the fight immediately, and maybe that would have made the difference and had enough damage on White Mane to finish that kill.
So Muradin just going over here being annoying. Found Vikings do win halftime, however, with no keep. Kata's 2 Merc camps in the top. This is mistakes were made. They just need to hover around defensively and wait for somebody to show top lane. Once someone shows, then you go aggro. Arthas eats the stun from the Immortal. Cuts does go out to keep him up. Swap misses. But their core actually taking damage. They're going to lose shields here. Let's keep an eye on the shields from the core. Nobody...
ETC, he's going down. That was a good stun coming out from Spork, and then good follow-up from Noldat.
So once again, Immortal does go over. 2 mistakes were made, and now the last defensive structure on the board for the Found Vikings will be under heavy siege.
Yeah, they are rounding that level 20 in about a level or so. I don't believe they'll have it until perhaps after the keep falls. So it'll be actually pretty difficult if they do end up getting that level 20 for the Found Vikings to turn a quick fight immediately after the keep going down, because they will have that talent advantage as well. So pretty rough spot for the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, other than a little stint in the middle there, it's really been mistakes were made this whole game. 17 kills to 4. They've been the aggressors all game long, won every objective to this point.
Bumped out. Dicky's very low. Syndragosa came out, but he is going to fall. ETC is going to get chunked by this Li Ming combo. Slides out. Tender gets swapped in.
One more kill from Found Vikings, and I think you're looking core. If you're the side of mistakes were made, you're sharking kills right now.
Yeah, they do have all this, so they can... There goes Tim. Yeah, that should be game. And some miraculous hold here.
You know, and I'm going to talk about Syndragosa one more time as the shield's going down. Core at 59, 40%, down to 30, 20, 5, 0. Game 1 over to mistakes were made. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Famous. That was about a 20-minute game, and I
Yeah,
saw 2 Syndragosas.
that is, I believe, correct. I think I only saw 2 as well.
I mean, if you're going to take it,
You got to
regardless of
rip.
whether it's the right pick or not, I mean, that thing has about a 1 minute cooldown. You got it 10 minutes into the game.
Hmm.
That means if you use it on cooldown, you get it 10 times. Clearly, you're not going to do that, but it certainly should have been more than 2. It wasn't used enough.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe they were
I'm
trying
not gonna
to.
say that
I think
the
maybe they were
Arthas.
trying to get the immortal and then use it, but if you're not
Right.
securing the immortal and you're saving it for that, you're effectively don't have a heroic.
Yeah, I mean, Arthas' Cinderosa basically has two uses. One, to engage a fight. Typically, when your opponent's on retreat, you can kind of catch them with it, and then to push past a fort by disabling all the structures and getting the slow and root on top of it. So you try and take out that front wall and then just pour on through. But they never really got the offensive one, and I don't think they were ever in a position. Well, they were in a position, I think, to use it after that first keep fell down. But in like middle of a team fight, Syndragos' value isn't really that impactful.
Unless it's securing them as they're just starting to break to retreat. You know, you see that team
Exactly.
fights
Yeah.
going your way, so they're starting to do that backup. You're like, all right, now we got to throw those slows out
Hmm.
and secure those kills.
And then my other big qualm with the last game we just watched was they didn't really get good value out of the ETC stage dive.
Mm-mm.
Also, I think that they could have had him split soaking. They had Arthas solo laning for the first half of the game, and I would have liked to see them kind of switch that, have ETC go into the solo lane for the remainder of the game, as he would have that global presence.
You know, I assume that the reason they went stage dive was simply ups on the.
Hmm.
But on a 2 map like that, its utility and usefulness. Stage dive is definitely much more limited.
Yeah.
And I understand all of those interrupts on the side of mistakes were made, but Mosh Pit may be the most impactful heroic in the game. One late game Mosh Pit can decide a game, even with all those interrupts. And furthermore, I would make the argument it's the only heroic in the game where you can get value out of it, even if you never use it the whole game, just by the threat of it being there. It has to
Yeah.
be accounted for.
Yeah, it's such a dominant ability that you literally have to hold spells just to be able to stop it mid fight, or else you will lose the game if you don't account for the mosh pit. So if you never do actually pull the trigger, you're still forcing your opponent to play around it. So it's pretty important.
Yeah, I think on a 2 lane map, I think I would have gone with the Mosh despite the interrupts. There's this kind of misconception by some players, not all, but that like you need to get because it's such a high cooldown, you need to get these huge mosh pits. Not even if you catch one player out and you mosh pit
Hmm.
them to death right before the objective, that is 100% value.
Yeah, like 80% of the mosh pits I land are typically on 1 to 2
Yep,
targets
100.
in a
Yep,
skirmish.
true. And now, granted, we salivate when we get him. They happen from time to time, but really most of them are 1 or 2 man mosh pits, sometimes and usually kind of in rotation or in
Yeah.
smaller-ish skirmishes. Not so much in those kind of big team fight brawls over the objective. And when those happens, it's typically because the other team, mistakes were made. But
Well played. Well played. That took me a moment. Um, yeah. So we're going into Infernal Shrines here next. What heroes in particular would you like to see?
sorry, distracted. Okay, so we're getting these guys in here. What heroes would I like to see? Well, actually, I was gonna ask you. So typically,
Okay.
about 2/3 of the way through the first game, I tend to ask my co-caster, but we
Sure,
didn't
sure.
have the option that game because it just didn't stop. This is normally the point in the game where we start to look at adjustments from game to game. So, was there a hero that stood out to you? If you're either one of these teams, we need to ban that. We don't want to see
Yeah,
that
I'd
again.
actually I'd it's a difficult decision because I think for the Vikings, I think Li Ming was a pretty impactful hero to against them. And I think they should find a way to get rid of Leeming. However, I don't think she's quite as strong on Infernal, so I'm not sure if they need to commit the resources because we might not see Leeming either way. Maybe the White Mane was pretty impactful as well. Had a
And I,
lot of healing
and I think that
in one of those
the
fights.
big AoE ult on Infernal Shrines would actually be even more impactful
Yeah,
on
I think
Shrines than BOE, so that's a big one. And also, got to take into account the Alex Straza when you're going to play on Shrines too.
right. Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe yeah, go down a support choke maybe. I think, like I said, Lily Ming might not be quite as appealing on Infernal Shrines, but it definitely was the MVP in my mind for the last game. Had just so much burst, follow up from
Um,
the Muradin.
and it just dawned on me, famous, that Mephisto made it through that entire draft.
Yeah, I'm not overly surprised.
Here's the
Um,
bigger surprise to me, though. Kerrigan made it
uh,
through that entire draft.
so I've only played one Kerrigan game so far, and like I've played maybe 10 Kerrigan games in my life, but I felt pretty strong. So,
we
uh,
we played one game with her yesterday, and we don't really run her much. And at
yeah,
the end of the game, our guy had double the damage of the top assassin on the other team.
yeah, one of those.
I was like, holy. And she was so strong. And Infernal Shrines, Kerrigan is pretty
Yeah,
OG.
really, really strong.
Well,
Um,
we got what we
yeah,
wanted, famous.
looks like
Because
we're ready.
this game will decide the number 6 seed in Division D East. Winner of this game
Whew.
gets into the playoffs. Loser of this game is going to be banished to the wild, wild west that is Wild Card Weekend Saturday.
Very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff indeed.
And I can tell you, because I have access to these things and they posted in the Discord, that the lower divisions have a significantly higher participation rate, sign up rate so far
For the
in
wild card.
Wildcard Weekend in the higher divisions too. Division C and D and E have a ton of teams showing up. So those divisions will be very wild, no doubt.
Awesome. It'll be great to watch.
I
Alarak banned
unfortunately
once
will be
again.
participating.
Awesome. I wanted to participate, but my team was unable to find
Yeah,
five
I know
players.
weekends are a lot tough for a lot of teams.
Yes, we do have that Alarak ban once again. Contender must be putting on a clinic with that hero.
Do not
First ban
want to
material.
let him get on it. I mean, a well-played Alarak can be really oppressive with
Yeah, he's basically just Kerrigan, so makes
yeah,
sense on
with an
Infernal
AoE
Shrines.
silence.
Yeah. Stukov once again as well. Looks like we might be getting the same bans. Asmodan. Ah, you know what? Asmodan was pretty impactful as well. Had a lot of dunk value. Punished that Li Ming on retreat.
Yep. And
And
he would be more impactful on shrines than Battlefield as well.
yeah, absolutely. We did have a Diablo ban coming out from Found Vikings last map, and I would like to see that again if they're going to stick with the same bans, because Diablo does also power up on Infernal Shrines as his best map as well.
Man, the meta we're in, famous. There are so many strong heroes and not enough bans for them all. I mean, still on the board: Deckard Cain, White Mane, Mephisto if you think he's good, Kerrigan, Raynor, Phoenix.
There he is. Yeah, you got Maev, Medivh,
Yeah, there's so many.
Sergeant Hammer. Yeah, there's a lot of powerful picks. Genji as well. Hanzo in certain situations. There's the Alex Straza. I like the Alex Straza a lot. She's very impactful on Infernal Shrines. Junkrat, good safe pick. I like it.
Is that the
If we
new
did see
Alex
that-
Straza skin?
Yes, it will.
Wow,
Yes, it was.
that was sweet. I hadn't seen that up close like that.
Nice. There's the White Mane and her new skin, and the Muradin once again. Muradin played very well as well. I should have mentioned in the previous game.
Yeah, he was always on the flank and really kind of dove in and set up those kills a number of times, especially in the Asmo. Got him 2 or 3 times. That lack of mobility just kind of sat on him with Thunderclap and the Stormbolt.
See what we get for this next ban. Kel'Thas. Okay.
Now, I
Why
did
not?
notice White Mane's skin has a pet cat with it, and that wasn't in the game, and that's a little depressing.
Do you want the Kel'Thuzad cat?
Yeah, more pet cats in game, I say.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. All right, one more ban. What are they gonna get rid of here? Maybe another tank. Johanna
Sure.
makes perfect sense. I
Yeah.
like it a lot. Get rid of the blinds for Phoenix. Potentially, you can still go to a second auto attacker. Rainer's still available. I don't think I'd like to see a Rainer paired with the Junkrat. I think they're both a little bit too sustained damage and not enough execution potential. ETC will be picked up once again. Yrel will help with his sustainability, giving him that 35 armor every 4 or 5 seconds.
And I love that draft strategy by Vikings, picking up their front line, leaving their pick flexible at the end. And we're going to go solo tank Muradin, triple backline, Phoenix,
Yeah.
Gul'dan, Nazebo. That is a lot of dot damage on the side of
Think
mistakes were made.
pick the Kerrigan. If you're
I
gonna do it,
I
do
mean,
it now.
oh my god, I would if I'm a Kerrigan player, I'm looking at this and I'm like,
You're salivating, right? Like the
other
only
than
thing
the
that can
fear,
stop you is the fear. Yeah.
yeah, other than the fear. But I mean, you can really have ETC and Yrel. Okay, that works too, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Genji not quite as strong on the objective, but obviously just a ton of burst, a ton of mobility, and can snowball fights if they do go Dragon Blade.
Yeah, and I like the combination of Genji with Junkrat, because Junkrat can kind of put out the poke damage to bring them into the kill range for the Genji to go in on it.
Mm-hmm.
Your assassin to do the bulk damage, and then you've got your finisher in the Genji.
Yeah, I like the draft. It's very well rounded, well thought out. The front line synergizes well together. ETC being that a little bit extra sustain from the Yrel. Junkrat helps set up kills for Genji. If they did go for a Mosh, you still have a Riptire to combo with that, as well as the AoE damage coming out from the Junkrat. Junkrat can control the shrines as well as rotations with his bomb and trap, and then Alexstrasza can go dragon form to control the first couple shrines very well. I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, this time we will start with the Found Vikings, the blue team. PJ Tim back on ETC. Dicky playing Yrel. Contender on Genji. Sailor Sky on Alexstrasza. Cyan playing Junkrat.
And on mistakes were made, we got Runtime Logic playing Phoenix. We got Zrice on that Nazebo. We got Kyle566 playing that White Man with the new skin. We got Null Dot on the Gul'dan and Spork once again on the Muradin.
So tell me if you agree with my initial assessment here, as the longer this game goes, the more it will favor mistakes were made.
Yeah, I mean, Nazebo is going to scale super hard.
Gul'dan as well.
Yeah, once the quest is complete. I mean, Junkrat, a little bit stacking damage as well, but not quite as crazy.
And with a kind of Junkrat, Concussion Mine, and ETC, Power Slide, and Genji, I feel like Found Vikings have a little bit more in the way of early kill pressure.
Mm-hmm. Definitely as well in the shrines, just because the Alexstrasza Dragon will help a lot before it hits.
PJ Tim power sliding in and then having to walk out the long way, is caught in the zombie wall, eating the spiders and other slimy things. You know what that Alexstrasza does is, for the team that has her, is it basically shortens the objective, because you just need to get it to about, 25-ish or so, pop that Dragon Queen, and the other team really should be getting out of there at that point.
Yeah, we do see Dicky double smoking, or it was for the moment. Looks like we might have our first Khazra camp started by Nazebo, who just DC'd, and looks like we might get a pause.
That's up to them. There it is.
There we go. So yeah, they're starting a Khazra camp on bottom, actually, not the friendly side one for the sides of mistakes were made.
All right, well, let's go away to that. Normally we see Phoenix, and I pretty much think Purification Salvo, but there really isn't that kind of complementary heroic, like your Earthquake or your Breath to go with it. We gonna see Planet Cracker?
Maybe. It's actually a really good counter to Mosh Pit. If you do see a Mosh, you kind of just mosh the laser the Mosh Pit, and ETC dies. So that's a potential.
And I just kind of dawned on me as well. You catch somebody in a Nazebo zombie wall, put the Planet Cracker right on top of him.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. I'd like to see that. I really hope they go Earthcracker or Planet Cracker.
Planet Crack.
'Cause yeah, we don't. I don't see it too often, but it's a fun ability. It's that global as well. Phoenix is kind of split soaking, which he is at the moment. He can just fire that off from across the map.
And you know, the other thing it could actually be used with, or I'm sorry, I should say to counter to, is the Alex AoE heal. So when you get the whole team stepping into that big AoE heal, you put that Planet Clacker right through the middle of it.
Yeah, that's true. I like that. I like that idea a lot, actually. And Gul'dan as well can fear on top of that circle. Hopefully they don't do it at the same time. I wonder if we're going to get Gary the Gargantuan, or if we will have the spooky ghost. Got
You
a
know,
preference there?
I mean, I think Gary is pretty much always better, but
Yeah.
in this case, I think you can make the argument because if you do it while positioned properly, Muradin would kind of have to abandon his whole backline to get up there and interrupt it.
You
And
mean ETC, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
other
yeah.
side.
Oh, you know
Yeah.
what? I'm sorry, I had it backwards. No, in this case, I really don't like it. I was thinking they had him backwards. The cold medicine. No, I don't want it because your all can get on top of it too easy.
Right.
So I think it's got to be Gary. You pop the Ravenous Spirit, and your Urel can just get right on top of you. Concussion Mine, etc. It's just too much there to interrupt it.
I think the Genji is the really big dissuading factor for me. It just leaves you so exposed to an easy swift strike.
Well, just think we named every hero on their team as a reason not to pick. I mean, even Alex Straza in the Dragon
Yeah,
form actually has
true.
the wing buffet to knock him out of it. So it's got to be Gary. And also with the solo tank Muradin, the Gary could kind of give you a zoning area, kind of a pseudo second frontliner to help deter aggression onto that backline as well.
Excuse me. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to go Gary, I think. Other ultimates, maybe the Alexstrasza might go with the Lifebinder, maybe just to help out ETC in the front if they do go for that mosh pit.
I think Lifebinder kind of always. Lifebinder is generally the way to go. But I did cast a game last week where I forget what team it was, but the Alex Straza player used Cleansing Flame as like long range artillery and just wouldn't pop it until the other team was leaving. And she had like 7 kills at the end of the game.
Really?
With Cleansing Flame just raining down on these like really low health heroes as they ran away. And I look at mistakes were made and I see a completely immobile Gul'dan, a completely immobile Nazebo.
Yeah. I really
So
like it with a Genji as well. It just enables him to dive really hard. You can Cleansing Flame right on top of him, doing damage to the opponent and healing
yep.
him up.
Yeah, and Urel can dive with him.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't think really you could go wrong with either. Normally,
yeah, what about,
I like the Lifebinder, but I think you can make a really strong case for Clint.
I'm really fond of Lifebinder, particularly with Diablo right now, because
Oh
he
yeah.
usually goes with the lightning breath, and he's
Yep.
so exposed, and everyone just turns on him as soon as he pops his R.
Yep.
You can kind of bait out all their cooldowns with Diablo.
Hey man, especially if they have a mage and you happen to take that spell armor at 1, you queue in there, you pop your spell armor with full things, you hit lightning breath, and nothing happens as the entire team puts everything they have into you.
Yeah.
You laugh.
We might. I hope we see Dragon Blade. But we might see that X Strike. I mean, if you do go X Strike, it gives you a way to play around the Horrify, kind of bait it out into an X Strike.
Yeah.
And if they do go with that Dragon Blade, I really hope to see him wait for that Horrify to go off and then go in with the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, I think if he picks that Dragon Blade, you have to.
Yeah.
And I like it too, like I said, because I look with a solo tank Muradin. I mean, if
nothing's gonna stop him, right?
yeah, I mean, he can only try to deal with ETC or Urel or Genji. He can't deal with all 3 of them diving back on Gul'dan in particular. Once Horrify is down, I'm looking at looks really vulnerable over there.
Yeah, he's gonna have that heal stone and the self heal, and then I guess Scarlet Aegis probably coming out from White Man will be his only saving grace. We do still have Perfect Storm coming out for Murden, so gonna keep on stacking that Q. I think he did really well last game. Had a lot of damage actually. A lot of setup stuns. Put some English on it from Junkrat, gonna allow him to have some extra cast range on those Qs. It's gonna help him poke from afar.
You know, the really only issue with this DC right now is that we're so early in the game we can't talk about.
I've almost run out
I know.
of first talents. I'll tell you. Okay. So my team, uncomfortably numb for those that don't know. We're having a little struggles right now currently, so we've kind of been having a little bit more fun with our last few games. Um, so I've kind of moved away from tank, as shocking as that is. It's
Me
been
too.
fun. Really?
Yeah, really.
What have you been playing?
We're messing around with some role swaps, so I've been on main damage.
Ah, nice. Yeah, I've been kind of playing the flex, a lot of Hanzo and Junkrat. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean,
Change of pace.
that's actually been my preferred role from when I started playing amateur competitive. We just, when my first team formed, like, got to the point we just didn't have anybody, so I started doing it. Now it's been so long, I actually have to like almost relearn, other than
Yeah.
a couple, because you know, basically I'm playing tank and I can play like maybe 2 heroes in each of the other roles. Well, I got to start learning the other ones. Um, but I actually, speaking of tanks, so my team Region Blue, we have sister teams Black and Red. Black is first place in Heroic right now. They're really good. And the tank player for Black swears up and down by Haymaker. Famous, what are your thoughts on Haymaker?
I think we've had this conversation before. I hate it a lot. There's a place for it, but like 95% of the time, I think Avatar just makes Murden such a better hero. He can use that dwarf toss offensively and still survive if he does have that heroic choice. It empowers his healing static coming online on 13, which you get with the stacking with the Thunderburns. You get tons and tons of healing. It actually just makes him bigger so he can body block better. Um, However, if you do need the extra peels and your opponent has gone for a dive composition, and you were unfortunate enough to pick Murden high enough in the draft that you didn't pick a tank that can actually peel, then you can go with Haymaker.
Yeah, I've on his recommendation, and I hate that his name is slipping my. I played a week of
Poor
Muradin,
guy.
and I picked Haymaker regardless. I mean, not in competitive, but like, you know, unranked, quick match, whatever. No matter what was going on, no matter the comps, no matter the teams, no matter what, I played Haymaker. It gave me a new appreciation for it. Now, I will say, most of the time you should be picking Avatar. However, there were definitely places where it came in handy, and not just defensively, because I agree that's more often the place that you need it. I actually had a Hero League game where I picked it and got flamed, but my team picked 3 backliners, and I had Muradin, and they had Sonya. I didn't have enough stuns for her, so I basically waited for her to hit Wrath, and then punched her on the other side of the wall. By the time she got back, Wrath had expired.
Yeah, that's pretty clutch actually.
Yeah,
Keeping off the backline is really important there.
I didn't really expect random Hero League teammates then, but there are times for it, and it's fun. It's a lot of
Yeah, it
fun.
is fun. It is a lot of fun. I'll give you that one. It's also really fun in the Cho'Gall because you kind of just punch away 2 heroes at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's a really big body that you can smack into other people. So that's cool.
Actually, it's probably my favorite thing is when you get the 7-10 split kill, when you Haymaker somebody into 2 other people to kill them.
I think I've only ever done that once, albeit I've picked Haymaker like less than 10 times. So
I've done it a couple times. It's very satisfying. A couple of the most satisfying things ever to do as a tank, in no particular order. Number 1, Haymaker into a multiple kill, but not the guy that you Haymaker that kills. It has to be people you Haymaker him into.
right.
Number 2, securing a kill with Johanna's shield glare.
Ah, yes.
Especially if they think they're safely behind their own wall, because it does like 3 damage.
Yeah, give him the old flashlight.
That's right.
Pretty good.
And securing a triple kill by throwing a Diva bomb into the other team. Now, the only The only
Does
tilt.
that count?
No, that's the tilting thing. Is Diva, that lazy person, gets the triple kill when we all know Garrosh did the work.
Yeah. No, that's a cool one. Actually, my friend and I do run that one. I enjoy that a lot. I think my personal favorite tank play, though, would be going Hellgate on Diablo, finding a double wall, blinking on top of somebody, shadow charging them into one wall, overpowering them to shadow charge them into the other wall, and instant killing them, regardless of who they are.
So what I'm gathering here, Famous, is that initially the team that wasn't ready now is, and the other team isn't.
Oh boy.
So now I'm switching
Not us.
clocks
Okay.
to start the pool of the other team.
I mean, I'm gonna assume it'll be like a bio break or something on the other side.
No,
Hopefully.
they said their monitor went down.
Oh, really?
That's what he said. And
Oh boy.
that was 3 minutes ago, apparently.
Lovely. Okay. So what assassins have you been playing? That if you've switched roles as well.
Well, the assassins that I don't really I'll finish this thought. Don't really need to work on
Oh.
is Jaina, who was the second master skin I ever earned. She's still my bae. Greymane, who is, I'm an old man and I hate learning new heroes. Greymane is the only new hero I've ever been excited about learning.
Right on. Here we go again.
Here we go again. And lastly is Falstad. Falstad was the hero that I rode from gold to plat, and with those recent...
Oh boy.
Invade here from the Found Vikings. Noldat in trouble. Contender going deep. Nice Stormbolt by Spork onto Contender. May have saved Noldat there. That was clutch. And it's not easy to hit a Stormbolt on a Genjo.
No, for sure. They gonna get the second invade as well? He's gonna have the power slide.
Man,
yeah, this is free.
What a difference a DC makes, because Found Vikings, man, all of a sudden they're like, invade, invade, invade. This is mine. This is mine. We're going to take this camp, your lunch money, all of these things.
Spork, that's funny. Yeah, they're going to get the triple camp from that all in all. Yeah, Spork wasn't in the bush anchoring there, so that was really, really risky.
Thanks, Anchor.
Fortunately,
Anchor your bushes. And that's actually something in the role swaps we've been trying. I've been saying a lot is telling the other Anchor, get in that bush.
Yep.
I don't feel comfortable over here unless you're in that bush.
Yeah, I found myself as Hanzo jumping over walls, chasing down enemy teams, leading the charge. It's fun, but it's a little reckless.
As long as you have your escape plan, man, you're fine.
Yeah. I gotta get a kill to get a reset though, so I can jump again. Because usually I'm jumping forward.
Yeah, my Genji play is a work in progress, but it's pretty much this. If I hit my E, I'm playing well. And if I don't, I'm gonna be feeder Genjo.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the hero is. Hit an E, hit a quick Q, auto attack once, and get it.
But if you want to know struggling on Genjo, want to know what my record in my first 15 games in Genji is? 1-14, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, you got a W in there, so that's something. Dragons popped a little bit early.
Yeah, definitely early. But there goes the zombie wall, right on top of the healing circle, which I like to split them up. Big double power slide. Kael in trouble. Down he goes. Alexstrasza finishing the job. Found Vikings backing up into the loving arms of Alexstrasza. Heals. However, Noldat is getting a ton of paid damage in. Vicky diving in, zoning away the Nazebo and the Gul'dan there. Early kill onto the white main. She will be back. Contender found a very low health Nazebo, and he will go down. Contender able to limp away or not. Yes.
He's gonna get this Gul'dan. Oh, doesn't get the last auto attack. I think he had him if he kept chasing.
And Famous, this is exactly what I was worried about. It looks like the Found Vikings can get onto the back line of mistakes were made anytime they want.
Yeah, the geography of the map is really helping Yrel do that. A lot of the little walls she can jump over and surprise everybody as Murden pushes into the team to deal with the ETC. There goes our first Punisher of the game. It's going to be a frozen Punisher. Pretty, I would say medium strength Punisher.
Yeah. I think kind of the only way for mistakes were made to win these fights. They almost have to fight hiding backwards because they just can't step up into stuff.
Yeah, it's gonna be tricky for them for sure. Murden's gonna be on an island if he does decide to go in. Nobody else can really go with him.
Well, and if he does decide to go in, I mean, Spork in a really rough spot because he's not going to do much damage to the backline of the Found Vikings as Yrel, Genji, even possibly ETC will going the other way. So, and that's not a favorable dive trade, if you will.
No, not at all. He's gonna have to try and just control chokes and let his team poke. But unfortunately, they don't have good enough shrine clear to really engage in a poke battle over the objective itself, just because the dragon's gonna add so many extra skulls.
You know, it looks to me like mistakes were made, even if they get the heroes on the Viking down. They don't really have a closer like we talked about with the Genji. Phoenix is really the closest thing. I think it's almost going to have to be like Phoenix heroics finishing off the kills, or a timely fear. But Noldat almost has to use that fear as a defensive peeling tool. He really has to get big Horrifies out.
Ooh, Cyan's really low. Murden might be able to one-shot him here. Here comes the power slide to peel him off.
Nice job by PJ Tim there.
Yeah, Sport didn't get the Storm pulled out, or did he? I couldn't tell.
He did not.
Yeah, so that would have been the kill.
Yeah, PJ Tim was just a little too fast, Spork, a little too quiver shy. Now a mini bush party here. By the side of mistakes were made, trying to take the aggression back. However, Cyan bush checked with some grenades, flushed it out, and the Found Vikings have arrived.
Yeah, they can't really afford to aggress onto that camp, especially with Junkrat in the game. The bump from the mine just negates any camp invade.
So heroics will be online for the Found Vikings. We have Riptire, Lifebinder, not Cleansing Flame, X Strike, not Dragon Blade, Ardent Defender, I believe that is, and here's the big one. And by the way, I would love to see ETC hold this.
Yeah, there's no reason not to.
I know I always pick it just because that little question mark offends my OCD, but really you should be holding it.
Yep, until you need it, and you just lock her.
And when I'm playing, that giant talent available thing over my head just taunts me.
So we do have Shaman camps getting picked up from both sides. Murd and Yrel in bottom. Yrel's going to get the last of that soak and likely head on up. Might decide to double soak. We'll see what they do.
Level 10s. 4 mistakes were made. Gul'dan selecting his only heroic that he has, Horrify. Gargantuan for Nazebo. Purification Salvo for Phoenix. Avatar for Muradin. And Scarlet Aegis for White Man.
Yeah, no Planet Cracker picked up. This is kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
Fun.
So Yrel making her way up now. A little bit of a head start. 4 mistakes were made, sitting at 12 skeletal defenders currently. However, now all members of the Found Vikings are here and commence brawl mode.
Here we go. Phoenix pretty far out. I think he will have that Ardent Defender pops in right now. Riptire comes out. Oh, Phoenix so low. Mosh Pit instantly canceled. Phoenix does get out. Fear used. Yrel goes down. It's a good fight for mistakes were made so far.
And look at the value Gary had. He was just crushing the backline, but X-Strike able to finish off Phoenix before the salvo goes out. Alexstrasza used to try to get control of this shrine. Mistakes were made, not having a retreat yet. However, Concussion Mine isolates out Nazebo. He's in trouble. Power Slide will be up maybe momentarily. Nice slow by Muradin. However, it is not enough. Not enough, as Genji goes in and then out again, picking up the quick kill on Nazebo.
Yeah, very well done there. Contender picking up a double.
Muradin is in trouble.
Still has Avatar though. Moldat gonna die in the back as our dive buddies hop on him. Spork's still very low. ETC's gonna have that zone and he's gonna go down. Oh, gets over the wall because of that white main healing. Never mind. Well played there, coming out from Kyle 566.
So very tough fight. I think the final count there was 2-1 in favor of the Found Vikings.
Or 3-1.
3-1 in favor of the Found Vikings, but most importantly, picking up another objective and starting to inch ever closer to a substantial lead here. Currently a full level ahead. Spork a little late on baiting that bad boy over. Urel and Nazebo both in the off lanes getting the side soak. Nazebo also stacking as well. John Cena should be jumping again, and there he goes on to Muradin. Denjo going in, getting some poke damage, and then they will be content to take the top fort. I will say, props to Mistakes Were Made. They didn't make one of my biggest pet peeves when casting Famous, and that's when multiple people eat the John Cena stun for no reason, just like that!
It's my biggest pet peeve when playing, usually. But I get where your head's at. Gyro will be used just to damage the front wall.
My team doesn't do that anymore because I just hard tilt it every time. Like, get away from me! Nobody else needs to eat this stun ever. Never, ever. It should never happen.
Happens a lot more in Hero League.
Oh my god. That's like the only time I spam ping is when I'm pinging retreat. Found Vikings using this 13 talent tier advantage, invading onto the siege camp, and now they will have push mid, push bot. I'd kind of like to see them pick one of these lanes and push in with it right here.
Just shove mid right now. With this minion wave. Not much they can really do about it.
There we go.
About it on the side of Mistakes Were Made. Exactly what they'll do.
So mid fort going down for free. About a level and a half lead for the Found Vikings. That pause served them very well, gave them a chance to recoup from a pretty sound defeat. There's a power slide, face melt into concussion mine, and there is the triple mosh. Naz goes down, White Mane will go down shortly, I assume.
Oh, it's gonna be close.
Oh,
Scarlet
nice.
Aegis. Oh my god, White Mane is insane.
Ban White Mane, boys and girls. Ban White Mane. How ETC died and White Mane didn't. By the way, she's at like 50% health. She didn't even need to hurt.
Yeah, that was something else.
And not only that, that was with a 2-level discrepancy. When you're down 2 levels and you trade 1 for 1, that is 100% a win for your team.
Yeah.
You will catch up in XP just a tiny bit, and you'll have a time period where your member is up first and theirs isn't. That time period right now. But level 16s have arrived for the Found Vikings. Mistakes Were Made is going to have to find value somewhere else on the map, do everything they can to get to 16 before this next objective. It's going to be close. Gary goes down to zone away on this keep, eating a lot of damage.
On the way.
He goes down quickly.
Barely.
And now we go into Brawl mode again, but Urel, man, she's taking a lot of damage from Gudan, man.
Yeah, she definitely gets chunked. Now she's full HP. Or backing, sorry. I was looking at ETC, not Hero.
Alright, Famous. Your mistakes were made. You're down 14 to 16, hypothetically speaking. And the objective is just about to pop. What is your play?
Double soak and give it up the objective. You can afford to lose this front fort and front wall on the bottom lane. Just try and get to 16 as quick as you can, and then make a last-ditch stand before your opponent hits 20.
Yep. The way this should go down is the safest member from Mistakes Were Made should soak mid. The other 4 should push top hard, and then the Found Vikings should reply in kind by taking this bottom fort for free, while some of their members secure the objective. Usually how that would go.
Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know if you want to engage in a trade, in my opinion, for the side of Mistakes Were Made, because if you do decide to push that top lane, and then the Vikings respond in kind, as you said, to take that bottom, you won't have that extra line of defense to chunk some damage off of the Immortal, the Punisher, excuse me, before it pushes onto the keep, and you run the risk of losing that keep, more likely.
That's true. Well, they did safely soak 3 lanes. They're almost at 16. Oh, Nazebo with a really dangerous rotation. Spork with the Storm Bolt, but it is not going to matter. Nazebo, Ice Block or no, will go down. That was just really too dangerous pathing on the rotation there from the Zebo.
I think Spork saved him there too if he just started running.
Yeah, I think so. It was
Cast
close.
abilities. They have 16, but now they're down a member, so this will likely be.
Yeah, and if I'm the side of the Found Vikings, once again, 2 members eating a stun. Alex Straza did not need to eat that. Let Muradin do it. This should be a keep down, and then if you're the side of mistakes were made, once this is over, you try to find something. This is the time you be aggressive and try to get that 5-on-5 same tier once this Immortal here is defeated.
Zebo is now as well. Muradin's posturing for a fight, but he is pretty isolated. I hope he doesn't go in yet. And he won't. Very wise.
But, I
But
mean,
you know they're going to be at that bottom camp.
yeah, I find them down there right now. This is the best fight they're going to get, probably.
Yeah.
And maybe too late for that one, and they'll see it coming, so you find the next camp. What's the next one that's going to be up? 49
seconds on the left side, Khazar camp.
So they tried. They were just, I know Gul'dan had to freshen up. Or maybe you pick a fort and you force them to come down and defend it. You can do that too.
Looks like they're going to get a fight.
Yes, they are. And Urel is top.
My Vikings would give this to them.
Urel's still coming. She is not here yet. Junkrat in trouble.
the
Purification salvo catches 4. Lifebinder saves Junkrat, but not ETC as Gary with the double-handed strike on the noggin finishes him off.
He's so low. Phoenix is also very low. Urel's on that back line now. Noldad is going to be the next to fall, presumably.
This could be game, Famous.
Yeah, it looks like it. Zebo's for sure dead. He's going to ice block and stall a little bit. I don't believe Spork can defend this 4v1.
I mean, they don't have a lot of siege damage, though. Their siege is not great, just really Junkrat. And,
Genji's not bad.
yeah, not great either.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's kind of a missed opportunity there, or mistakes were made, because that was really the fight they wanted. Not only did they get the fight at the right tier, but Whitemane wasn't there to start. But a clutch Lifebinder by Sailor Sky saved the Junkrat, probably saved that fight as well.
Yeah, I don't really understand why they gave them that fight, but, I mean, it worked out in the end, I guess, for the side of Found Vikings. They have 20s now.
Pushing in for their second keep of the game. Even taking the 5-on-4. ETC not here yet, but will be arriving shortly. Double stun into Naz and Murd, and here comes the Riptire. Nice ulti on the Scarlet Aegis. There's the Purification salvo.
Will go down. Whitemane, oh my god, will she survive it? She does. Huge Lifebinder value, gonna keep Urel all the way alive. Getting some good damage onto the keep itself, or the fort itself. I'm pretty sure they could accord right there.
I mean, I understand the call here. You're kind of low. You should go get the free objective, and that should win you the game.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Zebo is up at 20.
He is. Mistakes were made, though. Boy, oh boy, they are in a rough spot. They're gonna have Katas pushing bottom, Merc camps pushing
really
mid.
dislike picking up these Khazar camps. It's gonna allow mistakes were made. They should start this objective right now.
Yeah.
And get as many skulls as they can and back, because, or start to back and cancel the back, start the backs, cancel the backs, because potentially, because they don't have any vision on the side of the Vikings right now, they could be backdooring, they don't really know.
Just to play devil's advocate, I kind of would like Found Vikings to just take those double camps in mid and take that third keep.
Yeah, I mean, that's a potential. We got
So-
our fight breaking out here. Scarlet Aegis uses, as well as Dragon Riptire in the back.
Damn it.
Very low. Urel. Oh boy. Salvo's gonna go out, but he's dead, and that should be game.
So the concerns that we had with the solo tank Murid and triple backline, they kind of played out.
Yeah, Genji kind of ate them alive. Except for Whitemane, who is a god.
Yeah. Yeah, who proved to be pretty much invincible.
Yeah, she did die that fight, and the one before, but played very well in my opinion.
The
They did
Junkrat
struggle
is
to get
apparently
kills.
securing the objective, while the other four members are going to core.
Yeah,
I think.
it's not gonna matter.
No, it really shouldn't.
They got 4 catapults approaching the core now. So GG.
So found Vikings bouncing back,
Yeah, 1-1, and they'll.
taking the game and securing the number 6 playoff spot. The last one, staying out of wild card weekend. Stakes were with a pretty strong performance there.
Yeah, they definitely played that last map very, very well. Their comp was just really well drafted, and I think really well executed as well. Junkrat provided so much control in the fights. Um, Genji just put on a clinic, honestly, finishing kills, and Alexstrasza with those dragons were enough to win the objectives.
Yeah, and poor Spork, man, he did what he could, but I mean, you're just pulled in so many different directions with the comp that they brought it out there.
Yeah, so many backliners. I think Merzen's probably one of the worst tanks to deal with that situation.
Yeah, for sure. And that's just it's difficult to pull off triple backline with with an ET. I mean, they didn't know the Genji yet, but ETC Urel were already picked. That's really hard to play into there. All right, we are right up against our next game, so I'm gonna let those guys know we're running a couple minutes late, and see if we can get Contender in here for an uber quick little chat and congratulations session.
Sounds good. Talk about his Genji.
Yeah, for sure.
Stats wise, Zebo putting out 49,000 and Junkrat with 69,000. So really good job from Cyan, who managed not to die, as well as Contender also didn't die, and Sailor Sky also with 0 deaths that game.
So I did whisper PM, whatever we're calling it.
I believe he's joined our
Is
chat
he
or
here?
our
Did he ninja in here? He
live.
is. Contender. How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
Well, congratulations. I'm sure you know the reason I chose this game was because playoff implications. You guys managed to pick up the one win you needed in the matchup to snag
Yeah,
on that number 6 spot. How you guys feeling?
pretty good. We came into this match just really hoping for a draw, to be honest. I mean, a domination would have been great, but the whole thing we were looking for was just a draw because we knew we were ahead. And if we got the draw here, that we would stay in that number 6 spot.
So let's talk about that after game 1 where they kind of controlled that game 1 pretty handily. What was the chat like between the games? What adjustments did you guys feel like you had to make to flip the script in game 2?
Honestly, in game one, we picked some off characters that we aren't entirely used to, and the 2-lane maps aren't our favorites. So getting back into the 3-lane map was huge for us, and then getting our tanks back to where they needed to be. Sometimes they were out of position with the stuns, and that was about it. I mean, mostly it was the map for us than more than anything.
And last for me, before I send you over to Famous, second game draft. How big did your eyes get with the last pick Genji and solo tank Murd and triple backline?
It was just too good to pass up. Especially with the Urel that's able to just bully that white main so that she can't heal anyone but herself. It just made it all too good for me.
All you, Famous.
Awesome. So I got a couple questions for you. How do you feel about all those Alarak bans? I see you got like a level 100 or something in Alarak.
Everyone's so scared of my Alarak. I can definitely punish a team with him, but I have such a deep hero pool that you can take out my main, but I'll just come back on someone else.
Right on, right
I
on.
think he's
I
been
was
banned on 80% of our matches.
makes sense then. Makes sense. I was wondering about a potential Kerrigan pickup as opposed to that Genji as the last round. with that new rework, as well as the backliners and the fact there's infernal shrines. Is Kerrigan an option there for you guys, or what was the conversation like there?
I've been practicing Kerrigan, and I've been playing against Kerrigan, and honestly, she is better than she was, but she is still not to the point where she can just hold a team that focuses her. If she gets focused, she's done and can't get back out. I never played her much before the rework, so I wasn't entirely comfortable on her,
Fair enough. Yeah.
and we're not entirely scared of her because if she dives back, our tanks are good enough to turn around.
Right on. Cool. Any cool strategies you guys are gonna leak for us for playoff run, or any insights for your next games going forward?
No, we'll have to see who we're playing against now that we've pretty much, I think we've played everyone in the top 6, so
Hmm.
generally we'll be doing our strategies team by team, just figuring out who's doing what and
Right on. Well, I
that
really
kind of
liked
thing.
your draft, the second game, particularly on Infernal Shrines. Junkrat and Alex Strauss are just really strong pickups there, controlling the fight uh, in the shrine, and then just opened up a lot of opportunities for your Genji to really pop off and finish some kills. I was really impressed, particularly with that early kill on Phoenix with the X strike to turn the I believe second immortal fight.
Yeah, I always see Genji's going Dragon Blade. I love X Strike because you can use it either to get out of the fight or to just secure a kill like that, where you just need a little bit more damage. But if you go Dragon Blade, you know everybody's turning around to kill you.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks for casting us.
Oh, anytime. So that is Contender from the Found Vikings pulling out the draw, and now he gets to kick back with his teammates on Saturday and watch the Division D madness unfold. We're going to take about a 6-minute break here, Famous. Coming up next, while I reset the overlays, another game with playoff implications on the line. Div
Awesome.
B West. Roll 1 Esports, 10 Armor. Don't go anywhere. We will be back shortly.